Greetings, Patrick here. 8 questions with, and glad you guys are here. It is Wednesday, and it's the second of four shows this week. Glad you guys are here. Thank you for showing up yesterday. Those who did, thank you so much. We had a wonderful time talking to model Kate Estrella. She was tremendously fun to talk to. Very gracious, very vivacious, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. A lot of insightful and very insightful as well. Um, which is always cool to discover new things about a certain industry and how it's working and how it's moving along. And I think we got a little bit of that yesterday when we're talking with Kate. Um, Hopefully, she'll be feeling better too. Um, she explained to us about her medical condition, which can affect her livelihood actually. So we do hope the very best for her, and I'm looking forward to seeing if she actually does cosplay. I really believe that that's her calling. She could really, really do well there. So we'll see. But today we're going to be talking with actor, producer, director, basically a multi hyphenate, and our good friend Brandon Krum. Um, he will be here in about 15 minutes or so. Brandon is a really fun actor. Me and the Cheetah, we watched Wolf Hollow today, um, and his character Lucky Steve. Um, what a fun movie that was. It was interesting. It wasn't your average low budget. This one has some money behind it, and it definitely came across on the screen. Some good acting, a nice cast, head by Felicia Rose. She looked great in this movie too. And Lynn Lowry was in it, and Hannah Fierman is also featured in the movie. It's a good cast. I mean, if you're into indie horror film like we are here, this was a fun movie. Of course, Wolf Hollow should tell you right away that it is about werewolves, and yeah, I thought it was going to be played for laughs. I was thinking, okay, it's going to be one of those horror comedies, but I was wrong. Well, Lynn Lowry definitely is having an absolute blast in her role. Absolute blast. The rest of the movie's pretty darn straight. Um, and like I said, they didn't pull the punches on the gore. If you're looking for a gory werewolf film, I definitely would recommend Wolf's Haunt or Wolf's Hollow for sure. Um, and Brandon has a big role in the film as well. Uh, as Lucky Steve. But like I said before, he is not only just an actor, but he is a producer. He's directed, he's written screenplays. Um, he's appeared in a lot of good movies. Of course, we're going to be talking to him about Amityville Bigfoot. Of course, we have to, right? Axe to Grind, The Truth About Monsters, Woods Witch. Um, um, just a lot of fun movies that he's done, and he's got more coming up as well. He's got more coming up here, uh, including Body Count, Blood Money, X's and O's, and also it looks like it's going to be a post production. It's a short film. It's a fan film called Legion of Chucky, a fan film which he's got coming up soon. So yeah, Brandon's going to be here, and I'm looking forward to talking with him. It'll be a lot of fun. Um, ah, I don't really have too much to say between now and Brandon. I'm sort of talked out. Uh, I was not feeling the very best today, so I am just going to try to limp it through. Um, I'm going to try to limp it through today. Hopefully, we can get it through. I think the big news, what I understand, is the trailer for the prequel for A Quiet Place dropped. I, I can't even imagine. It's like, okay, we're gonna go down for prequels. I I'm just completely perplexed by that. I truly am. I don't understand it. Um, if you want to show the beginning of what would happen, make that your first movie. Like War of the Worlds. They come in peace. That sort of thing. Where the start of the movie starts. But this is now the third movie in the franchise, and you're going backwards. And it's just like, okay, well, we want to know what's going to happen going forward. That was more interesting to us, but I guess not. Um, and I guess the other thing that's going around too is people are really jumping on that movie Argyle that was directed by Matthew Vaughn and starring Harry Cavill and Bryce Dallas Howard, Bryce Dallas Howard, um, and people have been really laying into that, and yet the fans are sitting there saying it's a good movie. That's because you don't know how Matthew Vaughn is. I mean, he made The Man from Uncle. He also did the Kingsman movies, which was really really fun. I mean, him and Guy Ritchie are director brothers, soulmates, so to speak. They both make the same type of movie. Evening, Stephen. How are you? How are you? Doing okay. Doing okay. We're gonna see what we can do. See if we can get through tonight. Um, yeah, I am. Yeah. Um, yeah. I saw Riley. I have to see where she's at. I did reach out to Cassie. I'm going to put out a general just a release about that. I'm going to see if anybody wants to come up on March. They're more than welcome to, as far as women entertainers. I'm. It's already starting to get on me about how hard it is to book that month. That month is a hell of a hard. It's a hard month. It's a hard month to book. Hi Sue, how are you? How are you? Um, Of course, tomorrow we have scheduled Morgan Malam will be here. As I understand, I know that she is currently shooting her new movie, and she will be celebrating her birthday with us tomorrow. I don't know exactly how long we'll be able to get her. We'll try to get her for at least an hour. I don't want to stress her out any more than that because like I said, she'll probably be coming up straight from the set to us, so it'll probably going to be just a very fast interview. It'll probably be like an hour long. And we'll get her back. We'll get her back after her blessed event has happened. Um, Thank you so much, Sue. I appreciate that. I really do. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to Morgan tomorrow, and of course Friday at 8 o'clock we have Corin Nemec will be here with us as well, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Okay, let me go to the old calendar to let you guys know what's coming up. Whew. Next week. Um, I just want to hype this up for you right here. That our good friend Gareth from Video Tasties will be interviewing director Neil Marshall at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday the 12th. I will probably go over there and ask a question or two. I'm supposed to be there, a question or two. Let's see, Saturday, I'm also going to Mike's channel. Did you see that? I'm going over to Mike's channel on Saturday, and at 2 p.m. At 2 p.m., I will be doing a watch party with Mike and assorted all stars on his panel for Spaghetti Man, which I know nothing about. I know it's on Tubi, but I'm probably have to watch that before the show so I can see what it's about. Um, next Tuesday, we will be welcoming in our second band off of our showcase, Bipolar Record Showcase, and that will be with Boob Sweat on the 13th at 8 o'clock. They'll be here talking about their band, and I can't wait to talk to them. Can't wait to hear them play. Um, I know we'll probably get more like an acoustic type set for it. Though I'll be honest with you, if they decided to do Sonic, I'm not disagreeing with that. It's a pretty badass band. Okay, Wednesday on Valentine's Day, we'll be interviewing Dawn from Night Owl Music or Movies, Night Owl Movie Talk, also known as Dawn Zombie. Yeah. One of the coolest guys that we have walking in the community. Super fun. Made the best shout out video ever made. Absolutely crazy fun. Um, and he hosts. His name is he's not kidding when he calls himself a night owl. He will do movie watches at 3 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and there'll be people there for him. But I'll be joined by Lady Valerie. Lady Valerie is going to come over to hang out with us on Valentine's Day. And that'll be a lot of fun. We get to talk to Don and see where he came from and how he got into the YouTube community. And we'll be talking to him on the 14th. On the 15th, we have the owner and operator of Carcass Studios, film director Joe Lujan. Um, I've not talked to Joe in a very long time, but I have seen that he is absolutely going. He's just on fire right now. His Immortal War universe is going strong. He's got like 4 or 5 different storylines going through the same multiverse, same universe, which include Rust, Decay, others, and he and the Vanquisher. He's also created and publishes Vanquisher comics. That will be a lot of fun as well. Hello, Anna. I have been checking out. I have actually. I shouldn't. I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I ghost Anna a lot. So like if Anna's seeing there and she sees the one person and they're not saying anything, it's probably me because I really like sitting there watching her work her deck of cards, and I don't ever want to interfere with that because I really like watching her work her tarot cards. Um, and she's a lot of fun. I think it's great. I think it's great, and she's so cute doing it too. Okay, I said that. She's cute. All right. Uh, so Joe Lujan will be here a week from tomorrow, and then on the 17th, Saturday the 17th at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. we'll be having a special 8 questions with watch party. That's right. We're actually going out doing a watch party. We'll be talking with Joe Cornette from and a pair of his cast. Um, I have to put that in the description box. Yeah. Oof. Um, yeah, he's going to be here on the 17th at 9 p.m. and we're going to be watching Gunfight at Rio Bravo, a western that he did with his producing partner Alexander Nevsky. Alexander and Joe also co-star in the movie. The new movie's coming out. It's going to be coming out, which is taken from Rio Bravo. Is going to be coming out shortly, and they're already working on the third movie. It is now becoming official. It is now a franchise. It is now a franchise. 2 movies, you get 1 movie and a 2 movie. That's a movie and a sequel. But once you do 3 movies, it's considered a franchise. Yeah, so they're already working on the third movie. And I saw the poster for Taken from Rio Bravo. That is a badass poster. That is a wicked poster. Very, very cool poster, actually. Um, let's see. Yes, I would love to talk to Cassie. I did ping her. I did ping her on. I did ping her. So hopefully she will come in soon. Let me go ahead and bring up. Since it is 8 o'clock, let me go ahead and bring that up. Make sure he's not having any problem. Oof, okay. So that's gonna be at 9 o'clock. For Joe Cornette. It's a little later than we normally start our shows at, but since we're doing a Saturday show with normally if we did it on a regular time, we would be crossing the House of Horrors, and we don't do that. So we're going to start our show at 9 p.m. So I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully, if you guys like Western movies, the 17th is the date to be here. All right. On the 20th, we have young filmmaker Mia Holly Kim will be here with us. I'm looking forward to talking to her. She's a new director, just getting started. She's got some short films underneath her feet. She's very, very, she is moving forward big time. Can't wait for that. Can't wait to talk to Mia Holly Kim. Okay, and then on the 21st, we have from Higher Universe, we have Brendan Rhines will be here with us. Brendan Rhines is the mover and shaker behind some of the actors we have talked to recently, Jamie Hill and Elizabeth Chamberlain. Brendan is the man behind some of the movies that they've done, like I'm Haunted and Grotesque 1 and 2. Brendan's the man behind that, and he'll be here with us on the 21st. And then on the 22nd, our rescheduled show with Greg Scorpion will be here. Woo! Hell yeah. And then we have podcaster Charles Sherrod from The Dive. He'll be here with us on the 27th. And on the 28th, we will be talking to director Brandon Murphy. Brendan Murphy will be here with us on the 28th. That's a lot. That's a lot of fun. Oh, all right. Wow. Man, I am not. Let's see. Where is Brandon? Doo-doo-doo-doo. All right. Just to let you guys know that Brendan himself is immortal, and we'll be talking to him about that. I just discovered that while I was watching Wolf Hollow, that he is immortal, which is really fun to me because he's like, I'm not sure if he's like is he like now one of like the Highlanders or
Hello.
hello. Wow, I have to say, this is the first time that we've ever had an immortal on the show, by the way.
Yes. Well, then I'm honored then for two reasons. One, this is my first time on the show, but then I'm also the first immortal. That's pretty amazing.
It is. I'm quite honored. Now, are we talking like what kind of immortality? Because your character on Wolf Hollow, I mean, as soon as he heard the name, you just knew that there was going to be you already knew there was going to be it was almost like, oh, that's going to be the final guy. Because
Oh man,
nobody goes in a movie with a name Lucky Steve and gets killed. That just doesn't happen.
I know, right? I mean, now if you want a little backstory to Wolf Hollow, that's the film we're talking about. By the way, I'm not sure if the audience is caught up, but yeah, Wolf Hollow was written by Mark Cantu, and I believe there was 9 drafts, but in draft 8, all right, like a 1 through 7 at least. I'll be honest, Lucky Steve may not have made it, but
Oh no!
I was reading the script and I'm like, you know what? I mean, this character is so fun. I think audiences would connect with it more if he survived. I know every actor's
Mhm.
like, I don't want my character to die, but sometimes it's good for the narrative. But this time, my intuition was Lucky Steve should live. You know what I mean? Like we've been kind of playing with this immortality. Like he's saying, Mark totally came up with that part. The calling himself immortal and all that. That was all him. But I thought, how fun would it be if he actually does become immortal? At the
And
end.
that's what happened.
And then that's what happened. So, luckily he's a really good friend of mine, and he wrote the part for me, by the way. So when you think about it, Lucky Steve is it's kind of like hanging out with me a little bit, amped up to 11, of course, but it's just it's such a fun character. So if you guys have not seen it, you can watch it for free right now
Tubi.
on Tubi. That's right.
That's where
Um,
me and Cheetah watched it and thoroughly enjoyed it.
oh, I love it.
It caught me by surprise at first because I'll be honest, when I went in with it, thinking it was going to be a horror comedy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not so much, is it? Not so much. I mean, other than Lynn Lowry she was amazing. I was
Oh
laughing.
yeah.
I was laughing at her. I was like, she's so good. And there were a few moments in the beginning of the movie. It sort of threw you off a little bit, but
Yeah.
this movie has some steel to it. The opening scene is off the chain. I
Oh,
was
isn't
like,
that great?
yes,
It really kind of like it just sort of amps up the audience. It gets their adrenaline pumping. So that way they're kind of like ready for more when they start introducing the main cast, you know. Um,
right,
and what's really fun with Lucky Steve, which is my part, is that I sort of like my part gets bigger as the as time goes on. You know what I mean?
that's right.
I'm sprinkled in at first, and then by the end, you're like, you know. So it's been out for quite a while, like at least a year now, I think. So it's okay to talk spoilers. But yeah, it's great. You know, I feel like really honored that the audiences have kind of connected with me. I just won an award actually from
Very cool.
HorrorNation.com for Best Male Performer for Lucky Steve, which is an honor, you know. So I'm winning acting awards and the film overall. It seems to be really connecting with people. So right now I'm trying to get a sequel off the ground, which would be really cool, and
Of course.
hopefully that is going to be centered around Lucky Steve, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course, as it should. We find if Lucky Steve's, we'll kind of find out what kind of immortality Lucky Steve has. Is it
Exactly.
one? Is it from the Scottish Highlands, or is it from the mud around the corner who he bit Lucky Steve?
Yeah, that's the fun
Yeah,
part is that there's so much
yeah.
lore that we can explore in a sequel. And Wolf Hollow, the werewolves in it, there can be it's its own rules. You know what I mean? There's a whole dagger system and all this stuff. So does Lucky Steve? Does he adhere to that original thing, or is because he's sort of this a one-off bit off? Who knows? So we're
Yeah.
gonna have to see. It's gonna be exciting.
Uh, I commented how the cast is massive. I
Oh,
mean,
it
that's what.
is. Oh, there's
Oh,
so many great people.
this is not this movie does not have the feel of an independent film. This movie has the feel of a studio film.
I 100% agree, and that's the kind of joy of working with Mark Cantu. He's able to squeeze every dime that he's able to raise for these films, and he puts it on the screen, and it looks like a studio picture. Massacre Academy, I think, is also it's finally coming out. I think it's going to be available on Plex. I think it is already available on Plex, and that took some time to get it out, so it's kind of fun that it finally is out there. But yeah, that one also to me looks like a studio picture. The way he's using lenses and lights and telling the story. Because sometimes you get these independent films and they don't quite know how to use the camera yet or get the right
Right.
angles yet.
Or they have enough money for they only have like enough money for like maybe one giant effect,
Yeah,
one
yeah, exactly.
you have enough for one effect. I mean, you come out with Hollow, you come out blowing the doors off. I mean, it's that first scene is
Yeah.
like hell. I
Oh,
mean, like this is awesome. It's like
oh
holy
my
shit.
gosh. Yeah. Not only are doors blown off, but limbs are blown off or ripped off
Yeah.
in some cases. So it's just it looks really fun. You know what I mean? There's blood splatting everywhere, and we
Mhm.
have creature effects and gore effects. I think Katie Byers was the main kind of special effects person on there, and she just knocked out of the park. So I just think that it was a combination of everybody coming together, really passionate about the project, and we all just kind of brought our A game, and you can see it on screen. And then,
Um,
of course, Mark edited it to completion and perfection and all that.
now, it's funny we're talking werewolves, and overall, I mean, if you really think about it, if you really seriously think about it, compared to like vampires and zombie movies, werewolves are way down on the bottom of the list when it comes down to the quantity of movies. I mean, there are like you
That's a good
mentioned
point.
people. You tell people to mention 25 werewolf movies versus 25
25.
vampire movies.
Oh yeah.
Mention 25 vampire movies. Mention 25 werewolf movies. They'll easily do the vampire. They will
Oh yeah.
struggle to do
So you got
they'll
like Interview
struggle
the
to do the
Vampire
werewolf.
even and all this other stuff. Twilight and all that. But The Howling and American Werewolf in London. But yeah, you start to
Those are way
lose
back in the 80s.
quick.
I mean,
Yeah. And that's true. That's a good point. That was a long time ago at this point. I was born in the 80s, so I'm dating myself a bit, but I'm still saying it's a long time ago. and we need that new blood,
Hmm.
in horror.
We
So I
do.
think this is in a way, especially Will Follow is sort of like it's Friday the 13th at the time, where it's a low budget horror film, or like even I wouldn't to say like even Halloween, because I think that had a really good production value, where it's like they're using the shots and the camera angles and all that stuff to really knock it out of the park, and that's what Wolf Hollow did. So and everybody involved is going on to good things. They're doing some more projects after that.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
the cast is amazing. You
oh
got
yeah,
you got almost everybody who's anybody in the indie horror into this movie. Um,
oh yeah.
I thought Felissa looked really good.
She was great. Oh my
I thought she looked.
goodness.
I mean,
She did like this thing with her eyes too, like she had these contacts in, and she's it's just I don't know every like little movements that she did, because I don't know if should we spoil it again. She is some sort of a creature. I'll just say that. But it's just like wow, the way she moves, and she's talking to Bart, her lover and all that. It's just really some dynamic stuff there, And then when she gets offended at one point,
mhm.
because he like tells her to go to make dinner or something, and she gets offended, and she doesn't even have to say any words. It's still like the acting is still amazing, you know.
Uh, I've actually known, like, with all of us in horror, we all know who Felicia Rose is. We all know the name. And,
Oh yeah.
it wasn't until last year that I actually saw my first movie with her in it.
Oh really?
Yeah, so the movie called Rootwood. I have never seen The Burning. Uh-oh, gotta make
Or
sure I
did you
got
ever
my
see the sleepaway camps?
I have
Or
not seen Sleepaway Camp either. Yeah, I have not seen that. I gotta make sure my horror card stays with me, because I tell
because I
people
know
that
that's
I've
what
never
she's
seen
really famous for.
I've never seen Sleepaway Camp, but whenever time I mention that, Brandon,
Yeah.
instantly people come from behind what my horror card. You can't be a horror fan. You can't be a horror fan if you've never seen
Have you
Sleepaway
not
Camp.
seen it? I think it's on Tubi right now. It's somewhere out there right now, but I would recommend it, and especially if you don't know the ending, because somehow I went decades without watching it too. So I'll be honest, it
Oh,
took me a long time
Brotherhood.
to watch it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, Brotherhood. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So
Oh,
I'm 100
same,
because I always
same.
saw it, and I was a Friday the 13th fan, to be honest. So it's kind of like, and I was also, one of those fans who was like, I'm going to be really loyal to my fandom and all that stuff. So luckily I've opened up since then, and I've started to watch more and more stuff. But
Yeah. Now, what kind of reaction? What kind of? Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Isn't that something? Let's talk about fanhood for a second. So,
oh, I mean,
what does fanhood mean to you? You grew up. You and I. And everybody in the chat, we grew up watching horror movies. But
yeah.
What does horror fandom mean to you now versus when you first started out? When you watched your first horror movie and you said, "Oh, that's some shit," and
Yeah.
then come all the way now.
Yeah.
And what's it like? What have you noticed has changed in
Oh my
fanhood?
goodness. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I think in a way the fandom has really come together in the last few decades, with the things like social media and comic cons and stuff like that. So I think there's obviously there's some toxic fandom out there for some things like superhero movies and whatnot and so forth. But I think horror fans in general are very supportive of each other, and they've been helping getting independent films made, and like the Terrifier franchise now. I don't know if you've seen those yet, but the first one was really gory. It was really fantastic.
Hero. That guy's a hero.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen his thread? Do you
Um,
have threads? Do you have threads off of Instagram?
oh, I don't have that yet. No.
Oh man, you got to get that. You got to follow
Apparently, I
him.
do. I'm behind now. There's
He
just so
is
many social media platforms. It's hard
he
to
is
keep up.
he is a one man army. And also, we found out that Art, and which I spotted already in the first movie, but I
Yeah.
went up there and I confirmed it. But Art the clown is a cat lover.
Oh, that's
Straight,
great.
straight,
Yes.
straight from Art himself. Art loves
I
cats.
love
I
it.
was like, "You're new hero, right hero.
Oh
Hero
yeah.
status achieved."
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
he's gonna split that girl in half. Here, let me hand you the chainsaw, Art.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if she's a dog lover.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You
he
gotta
loves
love the
dogs
dogs
too.
too.
he loves dogs too. But I said, okay, well, 1 out of 2 is not bad.
Yeah, yeah. And that's actually what I did with Lucky Steve. I don't know if you noticed, but in the movie, he has a cat T-shirt on that are doing the thing, the explosion, and it's cats. Because I thought, how fun would it be to have one character who's a cat person in the whole
Right.
movie? It's not really addressed on screen, but I tried to do it subliminally with the shirt that had the cats on it. Because I am
Yeah,
also in real life a cat person, so
because we need more cats in horror. I mean,
I
that's even
know, yeah.
that's even worse than werewolves going. I mean, you can struggle to name 25 werewolves movies, but you really
Oh,
be lost in
cats.
naming
Oh
cat
my
movies.
god. Maybe we have what is it like? Scary
Sleepwalker,
stories. Yeah, that's true. Yep, yep.
a Cat's Eye.
Yes,
Um,
that's a good point.
um,
Do we count Pet Cemetery?
I don't. You know what? I hated that movie for that. Like, why didn't you just kill a dog instead?
Yeah,
Why did it have to be a cat?
yeah.
Oh,
Darn it.
oh, and
No, we do
same with
love
St.
dogs.
Louis.
By the way, I'm not saying
Yeah,
I don't.
no,
I have dogs and cats both. But I just recently lost a cat. His name was Flounder. So I mean,
oh,
he
from
was with
Animal
me
House.
for 17 years. You know what I mean? What was that?
Did you name him after the character in Animal House?
No, it was actually Wizard of Oz. It was the Little Mermaid. The little with the
Right.
animated movie.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it was
Wow.
based on that because I had a girlfriend at the time, and she was big into that. But I
Okay.
loved it. I thought it was a great name. Because he's a little guppy, he's a little sidekick in
Well,
life. And
well,
17 years, man. So anybody that has pets out there, take as much pictures and videos as you can because they really
well,
are part of your family. They're you know priceless. You know what I mean? So when
they
they're
really
gone,
are.
oh, it's. I've been in a funk. You know what I'm saying? Just because of like thinking of them. Like literally my screensaver on my phone is of my cat. I'll just show it really quickly here, but you know what I mean. You can't really see
Yeah.
him, but
If you look right above you, you'll see the picture of the cheetah looking down on you.
yes, yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that. I love
Hmm.
it.
Yep.
So I
So
was going to ask about that eventually, but yeah.
yeah, that's Paladin, and he's the cheetah in the name of my channel. Have cheetah
Oh, I
will
love it.
do.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool. Looks very
uh,
comfy right now. I was going to ask if that was a live feed of your cat sleeping right now, but I'm going to
no, no,
pretend that
no,
it is.
no. I should have got you that yesterday.
Yeah.
He was. I was telling people. He was stealing all the sunshine away yesterday. I made a little video,
Oh my
and
god.
he was solaring, and he was
Yeah,
like,
they
"Well,
love to do that.
I'm going." I told my sister in California. I'm going like, "Well, you guys are getting all that rain and whatnot. I'm sorry about that. I know, like, it could be better weather, but Paladin took it."
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
that's what they do.
So you're of the mind that fandom now is actually tighter than ever. I mean, it does seem like it's a way of life now for
Horror fandom, at
independent.
least I'll say that. 'Cause I think comic book fandom, I think they're a little divided. I think it's very much DC versus Marvel. It's very much I like this game and I hate this thing. But with horror, somehow most of the time we're coming together and we're embracing most things, unless it's a studio thing where
Yeah,
it's got millions of dollars. So I'm going to, as an example, the new Halloween franchise. They knocked out of the park with Halloween 2018, right? But
right.
then, to me, I think it went a little downhill by the part three, and a little disrespectful to our man Michael Myers.
Very
So
disrespectful.
yeah, so I'm glad you agree because this is kind of a controversial thing I'm talking about here a little bit because some people love that stuff, but to me it was like, man, I grew up with Michael Myers, man. I'm a Jason fan first and foremost, as you'll see right up there. But I also love Freddy Krueger. He's my second. I love Freddy and Jason. They're kind of like it's a tie almost. I can't show you my collection right now, but there's a video on my YouTube channel. I go over my collection and stuff. And I'm also a
Okay.
producer, co-producer on Hearts of Darkness, the making of the Final Friday. So it's a documentary about the making of Jason Goes to Hell. So I got to really collaborate
Oh,
with.
are you working with Adam on that?
Yes, Adam Marcus.
Oh
Oh,
my
he
god.
is amazing. And I've been like, I also did some animations for the movie. So like sometimes they didn't want to show full clips of the movie. So what we did is we kind of animated certain ones where it looks like the characters are moving in space a little bit, and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Why is he getting so much resistance from making that documentary?
Well, I think what it is first of all, that movie itself is so it's so divisive, because that is another part right there. That's a great example of back in the day where the horror fans are divided. Because some fans absolutely love Kane Hodder as Jason. Some fans are like, oh, I like, you know, whoever it is they like.
I
So it's
thought
like,
Jason Goes to Hell is I mean, I think it's the second. I think the first four are definitely the best. I mean, it's a
oh,
story.
it's
It's rooted. It's reality. Jason dies.
yeah,
Okay, I get that. Then you go into the zombie Jason, and
yeah,
other
yeah.
than
That's how
other
I kind of do it. So like, I have a favorite non-zombie Jason and then a favorite zombie Jason. That's
it's like
that's a great way
the
to put it.
non. I mean, how old? I mean, I can't understand how people do that. It's like, did you hear from Wolf Hollow? Did fans come up to you and say, that's not how werewolves do things, or how come your werewolf doesn't do that, or how come they didn't have a change scene? I mean, what did people get on you about, like werewolves will, they
Luckily, I have not taken the brunt of those kind of comments or questions, but it seems like mostly fans have been very accepting of the lore that Mark created. So they're just because they have a scene explaining some of the stuff how they can't die without cutting their heads off or without having like this dagger. There's only a
right.
couple ways to kill them. So I think because there was some lore dialogue in the movie that the fans have not gotten on us for that too much because we try to like sort of create our own rules. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right,
Um,
right.
I think
And
that was
yeah,
maybe
I,
why.
I agree with you because like to me, it's like, man, like one of my favorite werewolves movies, and I have to admit, when I love the concept. When I watched the movie, I had to go back. I had to go back and rewatch it. But I love the concept so much. So it was like, God, I wish there'd be another one. But
I
there's
hope
one.
there is too, man. I mean, if we can
But
get the
there's,
funding together, I'm trying to get because right now Mark is really deep in working on his new movie Grind. He's raising some funds for that. So if you want to go to Indiegogo or check that out, that's here's a shout out to Mark Cantu just because he's been amazing to me. But he's working on that right now, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be busy for the next couple of years, Brandon. If you want to make Wolf Hollow 2, I trust you because I've directed a few things and I've
hell,
produced a few movies at this point. So he's like, "Hey, and he kind of knows that I love the franchise. You know what I'm saying? I love the movie, and I love what Lucky Steve represents for the movie. So I think he sort of trusts the story in my hands a little bit.
Well,
So
let me ask you if now we're talking a little bit of werewolves too, and
yeah,
there are fans like you said they're divided over it. Um,
hmm,
one of my favorite werewolf movies was Hunter's Moon.
oh
When I watched it, I
yeah,
was like I sort of knew what was going on with it, and
hmm,
then but I love the concept of that movie. The movie is just off the chain. I'm going like the first one's a
yeah,
little rough for me as a fan, but the concept is like got me really jacked. And I'm going like I would pay to see this a new movie. I would pay to see that. I definitely
yeah.
would. And
There
it was
hasn't been one yet.
written and directed by Michael Cassie. And
Wow,
I don't know if you've seen Hunter's Moon, but that movie, you know what he did with it?
no,
How about this? How about werewolves are always portrayed as killers, and you get bit, you turn into a werewolf, and you kill people and all. How
yeah,
about how about a family or werewolf who hunt serial killers?
wow, that would be cool. Yes, that way they're sort of like they're still morphing, they're changing, they're doing the chaos, but it's sort of like a Dexter situation almost, right? Where it's like,
Right.
okay, we can let them run loose and and run wild, as you
It
would
was
say,
crazy.
but it's
Um,
okay because it's for the better of society at that point.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I was totally blown away with the concept. I'm like, that's a badass concept. I wish we had some.
Yeah.
But werewolf movies, like I said, they're sort of like, I don't know. They're just sort of like the last when people think about let's do a horror movie. To me,
Mm,
they always seem to be coming up from the bottom because we don't have that many. We don't have that many werewolf movies.
I agree. There needs to be more. And I think we got a little bit of it with I think Marvel made the Wolfman something movie, and
Werewolf by Night.
yeah, that's the one. I I only saw, but apparently there's only like a werewolf near the end or something. You know, he doesn't transform until the end. So it's like, what the heck is going on here? You know, I think fans of werewolves, they want to see like Werewolf Wolf Hollow does. Is there's a werewolf scene right in the smack dab beginning of the movie. You know,
Right.
you get a little fix in the beginning, and then it's like, okay, I want more of that. And for some reason, they made you wait the whole movie.
What did you
To
think
get that.
about that? I mean, as a fellow director, what did you think about that coming out of the box like that? Did it feel like it was the right thing to do, or was there a risk of like, wow, if we hit this out of the park, but we don't follow it up with we got we need some other gags in here too as well. And
Yeah, I
to
think
me, that's what happens. Sometimes a movie can pop his lid, 5 minutes into it,
yeah,
and then spend the rest of the movie trying to catch up to it. But I didn't
yeah.
see that with Will Follow. I was thoroughly entertained.
I 100% agree, and I was actually worried about that just a little bit because I was seeing early drafts or cuts, of the movie, and in the beginning, he had a shot in there where you could fully see the creature, and it was like, man, we're 3 minutes into the movie, we fully see the creature, but then he edited it, and then you don't. He kind of somehow he got a different shot where it was blurred now, so the creature is being teased a little bit, which is what you want to do. You want to tease the audience because in an Alien, you don't show the alien in the first 5 minutes.
No,
You save it a little bit. So that's
right,
what he did. He did that, and then I was like, okay, this is it. You can have it a little bit of an kind of a killer action sequence, or a mass killing thing, but as long as you don't show the full thing right in the beginning, that's a tease. That's going to get people
well,
excited and want to see
right.
more later.
You're right. We did see it. We did see a lot of really nifty kills, but you're right. He did withhold a lot of that. I mean, we
Yeah,
really didn't get
yeah.
a
You
really
see
good look at
splashing
it.
and the arms and stuff.
Um,
You know what I mean?
right. Uh, uh, so let's go back. Let's go back to your beginning, your humble beginnings. Um, how did you get inside the business? How did you get your start as both as an actor, screenwriter, producer, multi
Oh
hyphenate?
my gosh. I think what it really is that a long time ago, and we're talking 1993, my dad and I made this Jurassic Park fan film called Return to Jurassic Park. I think it's on my YouTube. But what was really fun about that to me, even at that young age, I was like, I don't know, 7 or something. I was like, wow, we had a VCR, recorder, and we filmed my dad and myself and these little toys, and it was like we're telling a story. We can tell stories with ourselves as actors. I didn't know what an actor was at that point, but I just knew that we had a story beginning, middle, and end, and it was like this is so great. We had like effects. My dad had this shot where his hand has been bitten off by a dinosaur, and we did a thing where you don't see the rest of his arm, and to me that was just so fun. You know what I mean? It was just like wow. I was blown away that we could do that with a handheld recorder. So then, obviously, we're going to jump ahead a few decades to high school. I started doing well. Actually, it was even middle school. I started doing plays and musicals and stuff like that in high school. And while I did enjoy that, I started watching. I had watched tons of movies at that point, and I was yearning to do more film acting because I don't know if you've ever watched a musical or a play, but the acting style is different, right? It's like they're very overly dramatic, and because you got to do it for a whole audience. What I loved about film acting was that it was more subtle, and even just like this, the raise of an eyebrow, that's huge on screen, right? Because if you're doing it at the wrong moment, that big eyebrow during your big close up, if you did too much, you're ruining the shot or you're being phony. So
Right.
I really loved, yeah, that simplicity, and you had to be a little more you know, subdued with your acting style and take it and slow down a little bit.
Now,
So anyway, that's what I love
was
about
your
film
dad
acting.
was your dad huge in movies as well? I mean, is that the reason why he went out there with you? Was he into making movies as and watching them as
He
like
is an artist, so he owns his own art and frame gallery, and he paints and stuff, and he frames stuff. And he used to do. Actually, I did used to see him. He did a play at one point, and I remember I saw him had to kiss another woman, right? And as a kid, I was like, "Why are you doing this with my mom's right there and whatever," and she's okay with it, obviously. I'm like, "What the hell?" And they had to explain to me, "Oh, it's just acting. It's not real. He's playing a character and all that." So it was really it was interesting to me, that people can kind of get out of their own realities a little bit and create stories. So he probably kind of inspired me. You know what I mean? I'll say that, to be honest, to to tell stories and be artistic. Because in a way, films are an art form, right? You know,
Right.
they're moving pictures. So I would say that I kind of got the artistic bug from my family. Because my sister's also an artist; she draws a lot and stuff too, and you know, so I would say that's where it started. But then he didn't do acting a whole lot, but he after that, you know what I'm saying? He kind of just stuck with his drawing and stuff. But then he and I did eventually, just a few years ago, we went to California together, and we worked on Amityville Bigfoot together. So he and I got to do some acting again, all those decades later. So it was really fun. He loved it, you know. So it actually just came out on Blu-ray. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be coming out on all the VODs and I would assume Tubi or who knows where it's going to come out.
Yeah,
But that's
Amityville Bigfoot sounds like a absolute hoot.
oh yeah, yeah. You got to get through it. You got to see the whole thing to make it all make sense, you know. Because at certain points you're like, this is crazy, but once you get to the ending, you're like, oh yes, this is great. And there's a lot of crazy kills and you know storylines and stuff. So yeah, I definitely recommend Amityville Bigfoot. Sean C. Phillips is another one of those indie filmmakers right now who has been doing quite a bit of stuff. You know, Mistletoe Massacre and Night of the Zomghouls and all this other stuff, you know. So Desert Fiends. I don't know if you saw the trailer for that, but that was just featured on bloodydisgusting.com.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm you know I'm gonna wait and see how it comes out and see kind of reaction.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. The trailer
I
looks
mean, I know a lot of
amazing.
people were in the movie. I mean,
Yeah,
the cast is pretty good as an Amity Bigfoot. It's a good cast as well. You got Eric Roberts in there, and
yes.
did you get a chance to work against him in a scene with him?
I didn't get to work with Eric Roberts, sadly. Our schedules were not the same days. You know what I mean? But who I did get to see the actress from the movie Boy, I believe. I forget her name right now, and it's slipping my mind. But she's also in Desert Fiends and an Academy Award winning movie or whatever. But so she was really nice. And what's her name? Tuesday Night from the Friday the 13th
Night, yeah.
franchise. Yeah, she's amazing. So she's in the movie. You know, and it was really fun to kind of see her work some magic. So yeah, so I just think it is really a fun movie, and there's a lot of fun kills, and you know, so if you get a chance to see it, definitely check out Amityville Bigfoot. There's also Amityville Karen. So I've been 2 Amityville movies now, which is kind of crazy because that's a fun franchise. There's also coming kind of you know they've been making a lot of them.
I definitely think. Let me get over to the chat real here. We have a chat. It's here. Thank you guys all for coming in. I see fellow film director Chadwick Whitmere is here. Echo Zero is here from the House of Horrors. See, Steven mentions he saw your Joker figure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See, cat people. Yeah, we're talking about movies with cats.
Oh,
Cat
yeah.
people. Yeah, the black cat. There's another one.
Yes, the black cat. Yes,
Let's see.
cat people. I think that has Lynn Lowry in it.
Yeah,
I don't know
Hell's
if you know
Kitty.
her, but she was also in Wolf Hollow and some other. Oh my goodness, why am I'm having a brain
Hell's
fart
Kitty.
right now?
Yeah, I remember Hell's Kitty. I actually reviewed that. That was actually pretty fun. Hell's Kitty was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
she's in some David Cronenberg movies, I believe.
Let's see.
The Crazies, I believe, the original of the Crazies, which is pretty cool. So yeah, she was great back in the day, and she's great now in Wolf Hollow.
Yeah,
From what I hear.
What was it like? What's it like working with a who was the first big name personality, actor that you got to share a scene with, and what movie was it? And
it was way back in what was it like 2019 or something, which is not that long ago. But it was with Billy Blair. I'm not sure if you know who this is, but he was in Battlestar Alita. I think it was a James Cameron produced movie, and he was also in The Last Stand with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so I always love working with people who have worked with Arnold Schwarzenegger because I don't know if you know, I'm a big Arnold fan with some Arnold stuff over here. But yeah, so it was really cool to work with him in Strix, which is this 70s kind of time period movie about this detective, or not, he's not really a detective, he's sort of just this badass who gets hired to go search for this missing kid. And in doing so, he kind of stumbles into this witches cult or whatever in the woods. And so I'm part of the cult is basically what it is.
Okay.
And so I kind of have this cool death scene. So the first scene, he knocks me out. I'm kind of like his bodyguards, and I'm in his way, and he gets to knock me out because he's this little short guy, and I'm 6'3", you know. So it kind of was really fun to see the dynamic, and I think that's why they like to use me for that kind of stuff early on. Was that,
Right.
my God, if he can take out the big guy, what else can he do? You
Oh
know
my
what I
God!
mean?
You know how, and I was talking about that too the other day. There's somebody who I know. I'm sure you might have worked with him. I'm not sure yet, or maybe you known him, but he's also very generous as well. I think it's really cool that when I see a big guy such as yourself is not
Yeah.
afraid to get this ass whipped on camera by somebody smaller. Um,
Oh no, no.
my friend, I think because you did Amityville Karen, right? Because I think he did it
Yes.
as well. But you know who Mike Ferguson is, then.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Mike Ferguson is great.
Yeah,
I've worked with him on a couple of movies now. He and I
yeah,
hung out in Vegas when we were working on Night of the Zomghouls together. So it was that's where I really got to know him, and of course I got to talk to him. And he was also in Amityville Karen, I believe,
yeah. He was
with
in
me.
there.
So he and I had a few scenes in that together.
He
So
did
yeah,
a
he's great.
he's done some really fun scenes where he's gotten his ass handed to him by a girl.
Oh
And it's just like I love it. I absolutely love it because he is more. It's all about making the movie work more than what
yeah,
you look
yeah. So you got to let your ego go, man. It's all about
for.
what's best for the story. You know what I mean? And we're there to tell really entertaining stories. So if I can, what I love about Mike Ferguson, and he was always talking about when he's doing these action scenes, he's like selling it, because like when you get
Oh
punched, if you
yeah,
don't sell it right, it's not going to look good. You know
no.
what I mean? So he's always making sure he's getting the angles right and the timing right and stuff. So I try to soak up all the information I could from him when I was working with him. You know?
I saw the clip he did. He posted on his reel from the flood, and
Yeah, that looks amazing. With
oh my
what's his name
God.
from Starship Troopers is in it. Yeah, there's just
Yeah.
everything looks great about that movie.
Oh my God, that looked absolutely nuts. He's getting whacked by Nikki Whalen, and he
Yeah,
just looks like
yeah.
that scene was just absolutely dynamic. You had to sell it. You had to
Oh
go.
yeah,
You had to go in 100% in on it. And
yeah,
the way he falls back and everything, it's like, damn, did she really hit him? Because you're thinking about it,
yeah,
like it looks so great.
yeah.
Um,
Because if he had hesitated or whatever, it just wouldn't have worked right. So
uh,
they
well,
worked
what
together,
what
and he
about you?
sold it.
When you first started out, I mean, did you ever have that? I mean, what was it like when you first started out and someone asked you to die for the first time on screen, or versus or take somebody's life on screen? What was it like for you to do that scene? I'm fascinated by this. That's why I asked this question.
Yeah,
What was it like, both dying and actually killing somebody?
I know. As me as an actor, one, I wanted to make sure it was believable, because I've seen some deaths where they're like, and it's just not, it's not very believable. You know what I mean?
Uh,
And another thing is humans do not instantly die. I don't know if you know this, but we're strong motherfuckers. We might be like soft, but our will to live usually. So that way, like when I was getting strangled to death by Billy Blair, I didn't want to just like die right away. So I worked this thing out where I was like struggling a little bit, and then he had to snap my neck to get me to finally stop, because I'm like suffocating, but I'm still trying to survive here.
right.
Um, but the main thing is after you're supposed to be dead. For me as an actor, I'm like, all right, try not to breathe too big, because I don't want to I don't want to be seen breathing, because I know every time I watch a movie, that's one of the first things I look for is that dead body breathing. So I try to like do really shallow breathing,
Hmm.
or like take like one big breath and then kind of just slowly do my movements. Because I know like what's also happened is I'm dead. I get killed, right? But my dead body is just like in the corner there, and I don't like they're filming me, but I don't know if I'm actually in frame or not. So I just have to like for like minutes, I'm just sitting there dead, not
Right,
knowing if I can
right.
move or not. But like this is the dream. For continuity, I gotta be here in case the camera picks it up.
Man, you know what? Scenes like that, I picked up on that have to hold that longest.
Yeah.
Man, you ever watch martial art movies when they
Oh, I've
kill the
seen
bad
plenty of
guys,
those.
the
Oh
hitmen? They
yeah,
fall down and they have to stay there. I started looking at them like, do they move? And it's like you look at
yeah,
them, it's like no, they've been there from the time they dropped. They've stayed
yeah.
right there. I mean, to
It's
me, I
pretty.
think
It's impressive.
It's
You know?
hard acting. It's hard
Oh, it
acting.
really is. If anybody can really pull off being dead, I applaud them. Because it's so hard not to twitch or want to
Mhm.
move your eyes or whatever it is, blue breathe. Just exist.
Have you ever tried to
Um,
make somebody laugh when they're when they're doing their death scene? Like
I
I
personally,
can see I can see Lucky Steve walking up there and going like meow, and then watching
yeah.
the whole
Oh
picture
my
just
god,
losing.
yes, that would be funny. I kind of get into. I'm a method actor, so I try to like stay in character I don't go like full Jared Leto or
Oh,
I can people can still talk to me off screen and I'm still Brandon, but when I'm on screen, I try not to do too much because I also know that when I'm an actor, I don't want anybody to like ruin the shot. Does that make sense? Not that
right.
it's bad to ruin the shot, but I'm like, I just know if they don't get one good take, they're gonna be pissed at me for trying to ruin it. So I usually try to stay pretty serious when people are actually when it's their close up or whatever. But now if it's my close up or if it's an ensemble, I will for sure sometimes make a joke or crack some, just because it's good to you got to keep levity sometimes, because we're working late nights sometimes. You know what I mean? And the whole crew is like getting exhausted. The boom pole guy has been like, this for 20 hours, holding that thing up or whatever. So you gotta keep everybody's mood up, is what I'm saying. So while during the take, sometimes I don't want to ruin another person's take,
No,
but
no, of course.
but if it's at the right moment, oh for sure, you gotta do something funny to get people laughing. Um,
Uh,
what was that?
What was it like on the other? Like I said, what was it like on the other side where you were asked to kill somebody?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Well, that was.
Who's the first person you killed on screen?
Oh my god, the first person I've killed on screen. Well, I did this short film back in New York City when I lived there a long time ago, and it was a kind of this film where I played this photographer who I'm just going to spoil it because what does it matter? It's back in 2012 or something like that. Um, but yeah, so I basically I'm turning these beautiful models into zombies, right? So I hand this girl this glass of. She asked for a glass of water, and I hand her this kind of weird mixed drink, and inside that drink is some sleeping chemicals. So once she's zonked out, and I have her in my grasp, kind of like this spider waiting to grab her. I actually am drilling holes in their heads, and then kind of dancing with their. They're not completely dead, but they're under my control now. But the only reason I really like to do that, and I usually only play the bad guy as long as the bad guy gets his comeuppance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So as long as he gets his, I'm going to spoil this for all the audience out there. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember what that movie's called right now. It's not a big deal. But basically, one girl is still sort of just enough there. So I kind of put her on her knees, right, and I'm making her do things to me, the character, right, as she's on her knees. I'm gonna let you imagine what that means, and then
Right.
all of a sudden she chomps down on it, right, and she bites it
Oh,
off. So now I'm screaming and I'm bloody now, and yeah, and then the girl I just entrapped because I have two other girls that I just turned into zombies, and she wakes up to me dancing with one of their kind of limp corpses, but she's still just enough alive to do my bidding, if you know what I'm saying. But then he
right.
gets his comeuppance, he gets that thing bitten off. So
Well, that's really
um,
important to you when you look over scripts. Is like we want you to play the bad guy, and the first thing you
yeah,
do is you look at the end to make sure that you get justice.
exactly, because I don't want to be doing this stuff thinking, letting people think, oh, this is a good thing to do. There needs to be a positive message there. Whereas, like,
Yeah.
if you do this, there's going to be fucking consequences, whether it's getting your dick bit off or you're going to be put in prison, whatever it is. Don't do it. It's a cautionary tale. Really, it's not.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Do you think screen? I mean, you're also a screenwriter. Do you put
Yeah.
that inside your screenplays too? Do you think a lot of screenwriters do that? Do you think they think about that, or do you think that maybe they tend to go for the bang? Like yeah, like we're gonna because a lot of times, especially with horror slashers, they
Yeah.
always wanted to get another movie. They're always looking for the next franchise.
That
So
is a
we're gonna
good
go
point.
ahead and we're gonna have our killer walk away. Jason's gonna walk away and come back. Um,
Yeah.
do you do that as a screenwriter? I mean, or
Well,
are you more into self-contained stories?
I will be honest. I love the idea of a good sequel because I grew up with my favorite movie of all time is Terminator 2. You know what I mean? That's a sequel to the first Terminator movie. But I also love things like Jurassic Park, which has spawned this crazy huge franchise. And sometimes you got to wonder, should they have stopped at some point? I don't know.
Yeah, they already started talking about rebooting it, and it's like nobody's asking for that movie.
Right.
No,
I think, yeah, I think it's good to maybe leave things open, like we do with Lucky Steve and Will Follow. But at the same time, if your story demands it, sometimes maybe you should get the killer to be done at the end, because at least I think anyway. But they did do a kind of fun thing, unless you do something fun like Halloween, where at the very end you look out and then Dr. Loomis is like, "Where the hell did Michael go?" And then you kind of have like that breathing, which is to say, in my mind, the reason they did that was not necessarily to create a franchise, but it was to say that evil is out there still. You know what I'm saying? Because you can still hear him breathing, and you don't see him, but you just know evil's out there. So it depends on the message you're trying to send.
Yeah, John Carpenter did not make that movie with any attempt to do a sequel.
No, right. If anything, they were going to turn into an anthology.
Yeah,
eventually.
So that was interesting.
So if anybody out there has not watched Halloween 3, I highly recommend giving it another chance, because it is an actually fantastic movie. It just should not have been part of the Halloween franchise, if that makes sense.
It's funny because I thought it was Halloween 2018, and then Halloween Kills, and they started inferring that they were going to bring in the Shamrock, the Shamrock.
Oh yeah, I did see the mask.
And then I'm thinking, and then I'm going like, oh, that's going to be so cool. And then
that would have been great.
And they came with Halloween Ends. It was just pure shit. It was like,
they totally disrespected Michael Myers. I mean, I guess they really wanted to end it, and no better way to do that than throw it in the dumpster, I guess. But not a better way, but no shittier way. Like they had no other ideas. I guess
the only thing I wanted for that franchise, I've said this many times before. The only thing I cared about in that franchise, I don't care what they did with Michael or what have you. The only thing I really insisted that for me to make it worthwhile is they could not kill Laurie Strode. You could do anything else with anybody, but you shouldn't kill her.
Yeah,
and maybe her daughter. I mean, I think her family line should have been left alone, because she's the innocent victim. The whole damn thing is like, why are you still punishing her? Why are you still showing her daughter dying? Why?
Yeah. I also wonder why
it bothered me.
It's a great point. It's just like, at least let some of them live. That's a good point. Right. I mean, I guess maybe they're trying to do Game of Thrones and up the ante or whatever, but I think maybe it missed a mark, to be honest. It's sort of like, you know what I mean? It's sort of like, let's the Strode family lineage not have this prestige against that. I don't know. It's whatever it is. But, oh man, I had something really cool to say, but now I forgot it. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, often.
Yeah. Like, oh man, this is gonna be relevant. And then it's gone.
Well, I know the director, David Gordon Green, he went on, they signed him up after the second one to direct the first Exorcist movie. Then Halloween Ends came out, and just got totally roasted. And then you knew that he was going to suffer big. He was going to suffer big with Exorcist believers, and he did.
Yeah.
Part of it, I think, it had to do with his writing crew. He didn't have very good writers.
No. Did you see the movie?
I saw the Halloween trilogy. I've not seen Exorcist yet.
Okay. I don't want to spoil anything about Exorcist. But I will say, one, it is fun to have the legacy characters back, right? Or a character. But I don't know if you know how much spoilers you know already.
Yeah, I know. I know Linda Blair made it in.
Okay.
I was surprised to see it. Yeah, I guess they donated to her animal rescue. So
yeah. So that's hey, make that bank. I understand why she came back, but I think they were a little. I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, but they were a little disrespectful to Reagan's mother's character. That's all I want to say. I think they misused her a little bit. I don't know, and I love the Exorcist franchise. The first one and the third one are really fantastic. I've had marathons of watching all of them. Is this the worst one? No. I think Yeah, I
I've
think
heard
that's
before.
still the worst sequel in the, in the Exorcist franchise. Um, so this you could still fit it into your viewings, but I think they just I don't know, they like almost did something I thought they wouldn't do, and then they just went back and did exactly what I expected them to do. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like
Yeah,
they almost avert your expectations, and then they're like, nope, we're gonna do this
that's
expect.
exactly what they did with Halloween. Everybody thought that they were going to bring in everybody thought they're going to bring in the Silver Shamrock Corporation into the second one, and they're all
Yeah,
expecting it to go through to the third one, and then nothing. It's like, wow, he set all those Easter eggs up, all that up there, and then did
yeah.
nothing.
And
Those
that would have
people,
been a more satisfying thing for the fans because that would have been bridging the gap. You
you
know what
could
I'm
have,
saying?
yeah, bridging the gap, and you could have had it. You could have had your cake and eat it too. I mean,
Yeah,
as a screenwriter, and as an actor, I mean, have you done a movie where the ending has just been you left the movie, you look at it and go, man, I just wish we could go back there and do something a little different. Do you think like that? Do you think
I'm trying to think.
because
I mean, there's definitely movies I've watched where I wish they did something different.
Mhm.
Um, you know, there are times. I guess there's always times. The hindsight is a beautiful thing, right? You're like, oh man, I wish I could have done this. Um, I will say it is very difficult to actually get any movie made. You know what I'm saying? Just because there's everybody's like, especially the larger the crew and cast, the harder it is to get them all available on the same day and time.
Yeah,
Um,
you had a huge cast and crew for this for Wolf Hollow.
yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that
Oh,
was probably one of the biggest casts and crews that I've had to wrangle and work with together. Um, so I mean, but it turned out great. You know what I mean? It just
really
kind of
did.
depends. You just gotta get the right people involved. But I think they missed the mark with both Halloween and um,
Exorcist.
Exorcist. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
this is
just
why
my opinion.
he got replaced, and I wonder what they're gonna go with it. I
I've
wonder
heard
what
they're
they're
supposed
gonna
to
do
do a
with it.
trilogy thing, so maybe they'll redeem themselves in the
They spent a
sequel.
lot of money on it. They
Yeah,
bought the rights for $400 million, and that was just the rights. They didn't, that's not even before the movies came out.
yeah. That's just to
That's a
say we
lot of
can make this now.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Mm.
know exactly how that is. So it's crazy.
Um,
Um,
Go
I don't
ahead.
know. We'll see what they do. I hope they make something good. I mean, at this point, they've already set this up. So maybe if they're going to come back and say, "Hey, Reagan's now the star of the second sequel," I would I watch it? Oh, of course. I just hope they do it right. And will they do it
Um,
right? I don't know.
what movie that you've done, either as actor or as a director or editor or what have you? What movie that you've done would you like to see get the big studio treatment? And would you cast anybody different from who's already in the movie?
Oh my gosh. Let's see here.
Someone
Well,
came up there. Someone gave you $200 million. Let's put it this way. Okay,
yeah.
and then we're gonna give you $200 million. You get the
Ooh.
cast. You get the cast three male stars, three female stars, and
Wow.
yeah, and you're directing it. And what's the story would you like to tell? What story would you like to tell? And what actors
Yeah.
would you like to what actors would you like to see tell your story?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm gonna go. My dream project would actually be to make something with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I would love to make a zombie comedy sort of thing, zombie action comedy, where he's like on the back of Hummers and he's mowing down, zombies in the back of that thing with mini guns and stuff. Because I don't know if you saw, but he did a movie called Maggie. It was a
Oh,
zombie movie.
it's a great movie.
Um, yeah, yeah, but it was a good movie. It was very dramatic, and I'm glad he did it. But as a
Mhm.
fan of action and Arnold, I was hoping for something a little more action packed. You know what I'm saying? So,
Weren't you impressed with his acting though?
oh my god, yeah, it was great, especially when he's talking about talk to the. There's a scene in the movie where on the porch he's talking to his friend who's a cop, and the cop is saying, "I'm going to come back for your daughter at a certain point in time," and Arnold's like, "You do that, you're begging for a world of hurt. This is my daughter you're talking about," and you could tell he was serious, because he has children of his own, so I think he was really drawing from that real life experience as a father, saying, "You're not fucking with my kid. If I'm going to bring her to the detention center or whatever, it's going to be under my fucking rules, not yours. I hope I'm allowed to swear in your show." But
You
yeah, you
fucking
could.
can't.
Yes, yeah. But you know what I mean. That to me was really powerful stuff. Um, Now, in terms of like independent films I've worked on that I would love to see turn into live action or a big thing, one would be Hinders, which is sort of a futuristic sci-fi Viking movie. I don't know if Heather Fraley came up with the concept. I don't know if you saw that, but it's a short film now. But I was the lead in it with her, and we kind of like there's like warring fractions. There's the rebels and the Vikings, and the Hinders is what they're called, and they're going out to find women.
Okay.
And because women, this is in the future where the governments have forced women to get IUDs, or birth control, but they started to kill them all. So now there's only a very few women out there, right? And now we're all searching. Remember, this is from the mind of a female writer, so it's okay. But yeah, I think it's really creative too, though. It's also really kind of something I haven't seen before, so that would be really fun. Let's see here. Also, Dustin Seltzer. I'm gonna shout out him because he and I collaborate on a movie called Hang Fire, which is a Western film. And I play a kind of the villainous character, but he's also sort of the lead because he has so much screen time and stuff. Where he he's the leader of this gang, right? And so my character but his kind of friends are working with this other guy who is like, he has a wife now and he's trying to retire, but I'm not really letting him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're out there still robbing stores and stuff. And I think that short film, Hang Fire, which is now, I believe it's on YouTube now to watch for free. That one really turned out well. I'm just saying it's top-notch quality. The camera angles and the gunfire and all that stuff is really good. So I would love, and he and I are talking about turning that into a feature film concept, which would be really, really cool.
Yeah, westerns are still viable.
Oh yeah, I think every once like they're not made as much right as they used to be, but usually every few years or so there's a really good one that pops out, like 310 to Yuma or whatever it is that you want to. My mind's blanking right now.
There's a film director named Joe Cornett who I interviewed here along with Alexander Nevsky, and they did a gunfight at Rio Bravo.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, we're doing a watch party for that on the 17th.
Oh, that's great.
And then they got a second movie. It's almost out of post called Taken from Rio Bravo, and they're already starting to work on the third one. So westerns are still alive and well, and indie westerns at that. Yeah, very, very cool to see. Very cool to see.
I've just recently gotten into the Western thing. I mean, I've loved Western movies in watching them, but I just started getting into acting into them. So I think I just now finally have the right look and the beard and stuff like that. For a while, I didn't look like this, but I have the look now, and it's been so fun. I did also a movie with Heather called White Poison that she directed and stuff. She wrote and directed.
Heather's got a really unique look about her, doesn't she?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, she's got the eyes and these cheekbones and stuff. She's also has a really strong presence on screen, I think. So she's definitely on the rise, going places.
Yeah, when I saw her, and the first thing that came to me was like when I was watching her was I was thinking about Jamie Bernadette.
Yes, I see you as a new age, huh? Yeah,
yeah.
That's how it goes. Every generation needs its own.
they can walk into any movie and lose themselves in it.
Oh yeah. And that's something she's really fun to work with too. Is that she does really get into the story and the character, and she tries to make sure it's believable. So that's why it's fun to work with her as well. So yeah, if you're looking for an actress, there's definitely an actress you should be looking into.
What was it like though, working with heavyweights like you share screen time with Felicia and Hannah Fearman and Lynn Lowry. What was it like working with them? I mean,
oh my gosh, they're just they're already the queens of their craft. You know what I'm saying? So they're coming on set and they're all confident and cool and ready for their lines, and it's like it makes you want to up your game too. So I was making sure I was off book, as they call it, where your lines and you kind of know exactly what you're going to say and do. So I try to make sure that I brought my A game. But Lynn Lowry especially, she was so funny. You know what I'm saying? She's a very beautiful woman and just fun to work with. But just on and off screen, she's funny to be around. You know, she's always have these one-liners and stuff. So I would highly recommend working with Lynn Lowry as well, if you can, because you know if you get these people who are kind of heavyweights. Also, Scout Taylor Compton from the
Yeah.
Rob Zombie Halloween. I got to work with her in Desert Fiends, and oh
Oh,
my God, there's a picture of me and her. I believe on my IMDb posted. You know, but she didn't get pictures with very many people on there because she's you know one of the bigger names nowadays. Because Rob Zombie's Halloween kind of was a bigger deal.
oh my gosh, she's a really good actress. I watched her on so many things.
Oh my God, yeah, every scene she was just on top of it. She knew her lines. She was fun to, you know, bubbly, fun, you know, behind scenes, and she would try to help you make sure you got the good angle and stuff. It was just great to work with. And I think she's also directing her own movie now, so she's also starting to branch out from just acting, which is great, because you know she's just so talented.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably was it hard for you to prepare for the role of Lucky Steve? I mean, is it hard to get into to create the role without being slightly intimidated by a name cast? I mean, I can't see either one of the three ladies showing any ego at all.
Yeah, I didn't see ego on set, to be honest. You know, they
Yeah.
were all very chill. They were all just happy to be part of the project, just like all the other actors, you know, who
Well,
haven't been in nearly as much stuff as they have.
you hit on something too. That's also been a common theme in when I talk to filmmakers.
Hmm.
And that is, well, one of the things that really bothers, and I guess this, I guess like you mentioned how you didn't get to work with Eric Roberts because
Yeah,
probably because he was just there for a day, right?
yeah. If we're gonna be honest, yeah.
And that's got to be
When you
sort of
see the movie, maybe you can tell, but you know they try to spread them out. You know what I'm saying?
it's got to be sort of frustrating as an actor because when we come onto a project and they say, okay, well, who are we acting with? We got Hannah Fierman, we got Felissa Rose, we got Lynn Lowry, and and
Yeah.
as an actor, you're sitting there going like, man, I want scenes, I hope
Oh,
I
of
get a
course.
scene with her,
You also
it's
want to
one of
kind
the
of stretch your acting ability and your acting, you know, repertoire a little bit. Because if you don't ever get to work, because you want to work with quality people, does that make sense? You know
oh
what I
yeah,
mean? Um,
definitely.
as an actor, you're kind of like, so because if you're always working with people that don't know what they're doing, it's hard to like hone any craft. So, luckily, I've been able to work with a lot of fantastic actors. You know, I don't really have uh, bad things to say about, especially anybody on top. You know, anybody that was like A or B listers that are in the movies that I'm in. Everybody's been really great. Even like I don't know if you know Jeremy London from
Oh
like I
yeah.
think it's Party of Five, and so I worked with him on another independent horror film, and he was absolutely amazing. Like he made sure because I spent like hours, 2 days on set, and then it was like an overnight thing, and like, hey, where are my lines? Because I'm just like still waiting to get my lines in, you know, because as an actor, you don't really. I came on set knowing or with the agreement that I was going to have a line, right? And so the whole day one goes by, no lines. And the day two is going by. It's been 5 hours now, and I haven't gotten the line in. So finally, he stood up for me and he said, "Hey, Brandon here has been doing his job and he's hitting his marks and doing everything. You need to get his lines." And I'm getting sick and tired because this is like actually like now probably 10 hours into the shoot. You know, the light's coming up now. But he made sure I got my lines. And I think that's a really huge thing is when someone at his level is still standing up for people lower than him. You know, that's a huge indication that his ego is not out the window. He's actually trying to help the cast and crew get what they deserve. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
what they agreed to. So I really appreciate him for doing that for me as well.
What do you feel? What do you feel about the pay to play thing going on like Desert Fiends? I mean, Desert Fiends is a pay to play project.
Yeah.
They raised their money and they raised a lot of money for it and you know and the people who donate to get win roles on the movie and what have you. What
Hmm.
do you feel about that process yourself? I mean, is that the new normal now? I mean,
I
when I first started doing this show, we talked about
mm,
it a lot and but now it just seems to be. I mean, every time I turn around, there's someone's announcing a new movie and they're crowdfunding it, and I'm
that's a good
just like,
point.
yeah, I'm just like, wow. Half me sitting there going, I understand you need to raise the money, But
Yeah.
half the time when you're offering a perk and you're sitting there going like, yeah, you want to be in the movie, you can have a scene against so and so. I just feel like that's just so wrong to me. It's just not right.
That is, it is kind of a crazy thing, and you got to find the right balance because you are trying to raise money to get this project even made. Because every movie costs money. You got to be able to pay also just to feed the actors. Even if you're not going to pay the actor, you still got to feed him when he's on set. Um, but I see what you're saying here, where it's like you have this hugely talented person, and then you could potentially be getting a nobody, that's going to potentially ruin your movie. So, and that also, at some point, I think this has also caused some harm in some independent films, is that you have so many people backing it that you have 45 characters now. That what do you do with all these people? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So you have to really kind of somehow craft it in there to be appropriate. But I don't want to say necessarily that it's a bad thing to do necessarily, because I do think everybody deserves a shot also, because some people, they can't get a casting director's attention. They can't do this or that because everybody said, hey, you got to have experience. Well, how do you get experience without having opportunity? So I think it goes a little bit both ways, but it can also be very, very detrimental to the movie, because then you have people like who can't speak English very well, or whatever the movie's language
Right.
is, and then, so it just depends on it really it
Have
depends on what their level is.
have you been? I mean, Desert Fiends, you're in that. So what was that like? I mean, here you are, you're casted in that movie as a
Yeah,
working actor. What's it like though? Like I remember talking to Sadie Katz, and Sadie was sitting there and saying how she's had to work against scene partners who were basically they bought the role, and she's had to work
yeah,
against and she's like, I do my very best to help them get and help them complete the scene. But
yeah,
I'm just sitting there going like, how frustrating that's got to be to sit there and not only worry about your scene and your lines and your emotions and whatnot, but then you got to get someone like myself, and you got to sit
yeah.
there and worry about this guy. Like, he's not an actor. He's just here because he paid $1,500 to be here.
That's a good point, and that's where the movie sort of suffers. Is you're gonna have to kind of say, hey, we're getting this funding, but then the performance of that character is going to be lower than if you get somebody who's seasoned. So it's sort of like a trade off, where it's like you're still getting to make your movie, but at the same time, you're not getting the maybe the best actor for the job. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I get
So
it.
it's a struggle, but I don't want to say I don't support it, because I do want people to have opportunities. And I
But
hope
it
that
really
when they
feels
do get that opportunity, they take it seriously. That's the main thing, is that they don't take it seriously. Because I know I've been on a movie set where somebody didn't show up to their scene because it was raining that day. They paid for all this money and they paid the thing for the scene, and they didn't show up. I think it was on Desert Fiends, but it was raining that day, and they're like, "Well, I don't want to go out in the rain." To me, that's insane. You know what I mean? They're not taking it seriously because I would assume they're just rich. They have an income, it's disposable income, is what that is. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Um, and so they're like, I can miss that day. But it really screws over the independent film, because now they have to scramble at the last minute to fill, because they have a shooting schedule and lines and scripts and things they have to get done that day. And now that person has just completely ruined
What
that
kills me, what kills
schedule.
me, Brandon, is a lot of times these actors or these projects will come out there, some of the Desert Fiends or Amityville, Karen or whatnot, and they'll raise like 50 or $60,000 for it. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, how are you going to recoup that money? Because obviously, are you going to be able to do that? And to me, it's like if you're confident you can recoup that money,
Hmm.
then why are you going to next project doing the same thing? Why aren't you taking the profits from the first film and channeling that back into the next film?
That is a
You
great
know,
point. That's a great
I I I,
question.
I mean, without getting into it too much, I see like two or three of the same people doing this over and over and over. They're always fundraising. It's just like, haven't any of your movies made any money at all?
That is a great
Why,
question.
to me, it's like, man, if your movies ain't making nothing, why are you making them? You got to rethink of what you're doing.
Yeah, you
The
do want to
point, the
make sure
point is,
there's a margin for profit.
yeah,
It is show business. So when you do invest in a movie as a producer, you're like, well, I want to make sure you get something back for it. You know what I mean? Or at least see the movie. You know what I mean? Because I've invested in movies where the movie just goes, it disappears. You know, and that's money just gone. Like I worked on Axe to Grind, Axe 2 Grind, which is the sequel to Axe to Grind 1. And Stormy Daniels is in the movie. I don't know if you know who that is, but
Oh, I know
um,
Stormy.
yeah, you know, so she co-directed the movie and all this stuff. But it's been 3 years, and we're still waiting for the movie. You know, so it's just like if you do have things, if you're raising money, make sure you give people their money's worth. Don't actually make the movie and release it, because if you're just going to steal money from people, I think that's completely wrong. And it
Hey,
also kind of hurts other people in their cause to try to raise money. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, because that's to me, it's like I'm thinking to myself, going like, okay, they're saying, well, they're doing a stretch. We hit our goal. Now we're going to go more. We're going to go more. And it's like, okay, you're going more and more and more. I mean, like with the
Yeah.
Wolf Hollow, you got a distributor. You got Gravitas Venture.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
really,
They were
that's just like, not only are you going to get all the VOD, but you're also going to physical release for that.
exactly.
And so your movie has a fighting chance to make money, whatever a Wolf
Yeah.
Hallow's budget was. Now you have a chance to make money, and now I see a lot of these movies that are funded by crowdfunding, and it's just like, how, like I know that who was it? I think it was Skinner Moranik. I think that movie, the director, after they started getting money, because they got that movie made almost 20 million bucks. I
Wow.
think
Really?
they made it for next to nothing. And
Well,
and
yeah.
and
Right.
they went ahead and gave all the people who invested in that money, they gave them like twice the amount. I think it was either twice the amount they donated, or it was a substantial amount. That's just as
Yeah.
a way of saying thank you.
Oh, that's great.
It's the only time I've ever heard of an independent film like that, where
I've
they,
never heard of that happening.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy. I mean, I'm glad they did it, and that's the right thing to do. If you make 20 million, at least give the people who gave you 100,000 or 50,000 their money back. You know, or whatever. You know, I have not made $1 million on a movie yet, despite what Google may say.
oh,
So
yeah, yeah. Oh, I've seen those too. Yeah. What's Brendan Krum's worth? And they type in there, and it's like he's worth $6.5 million, and you're going like,
yeah,
wow, that's really cool. I wonder if he knows that.
yeah,
Let
exactly.
me type in. Let me type in Patrick Michael. He's worth $5 million. Really?
Isn't
Well,
it great? You know,
yeah,
it's man.
maybe a monopoly money. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. That's it's all screen money, you know, or it's
Uh,
all going into these collectibles here. So I don't have any.
yeah. What kind of collectibles do you have? I mean, I obviously see you're into physical media, right? You have movies and you have
Oh,
figures.
yeah, I love movies. You know what I mean? I love having actual physical media because I think in a way, you know, Netflix and all these other things. You know, I have just saying Blu-rays and all that stuff. I have them right here, all surrounded by them. Um, But I think in a way, it's like in case something goes on, or in Florida anyway, that's where I'm located at the moment. We have hurricanes, so if Wi-Fi or the signals goes out, guess what? We don't have no Netflix anymore. You know, so if you have it, you own it. You can watch it anytime you like, as long as there's power on. You just pop that disc in, and you own the movie. But if you're just relying on streaming services, there's going to come a time when the movie you want to watch is not available,
Yeah.
which is kind of
Even on Tubi,
scary, really.
yeah, even on Tubi, they'll sit there and say leaving, leaving soon. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I just
wow.
tried to play a movie last night. I forget which one it was, but I'm trying to play it, and then it goes to the page, and it's like, oh, our distribution, some sort of alert comes up saying it's already gone. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't even watch it. And it was saying leaving soon. You would think they would be like instantly up to date, but they're still teasing you with movies that aren't even on their site yet, or anymore. So that's the scary thing is that's why I think physical media is still the way to go. I know I completely understand the push for digital because it saves so much space. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but when there's a crisis or when you're traveling or whatever it is, there's definitely a space and time that physical media is still the king. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, it is. I totally agree with that. What's going to happen with Brandon for 2024? What do you got coming up next? I mean, I saw a whole slew of projects coming up, including the Chucky fan film. So what else
Yeah.
coming up this year?
So I just finished in 2024 in January. My first project was I think it's Legion of Chucky, which is a fan film that Rick Danford is directing and writing and stuff. And I believe he has this Hung Horror Junkies like magazine, and he just did his first film festival at MegaCon here in Florida, Orlando. So he's been really pushing hard for the Florida film industry lately and independent films. So that was really fun to be in. I played a detective in that, and I don't want to give too much away, but I might be coming back in a sequel. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was just kind of fun to because I love Chucky too. I don't know if I pan over enough. There's Chucky stuff there, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
So I love all the horror stuff. Like I said, Jason's top, then Freddy, and then maybe Leatherface and Chucky. It depends on the mood I'm in. A lot of times is third,
Right.
fourth, or fifth
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's something. If when you watch horror franchises, sometimes you just get in that certain mood to watch a certain favorite. Like Terminator 2 or something like that. It's like,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Predator or something. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to an old favorite. It's like comfort food.
It really is, yeah. And I think a lot of it is the nostalgia because I would watch a lot of these movies, like Friday the 13th and stuff with my dad, as a kid. Um, and he'd like cover my eyes during the bad parts, the adult stuff. But but it was still sort of. Then I eventually went and rented my own copies and got to enjoy the whole movie by myself. But I think there is just sort of like this callback to a simpler time when you, especially like when you watch retro horror movies or 80s horror movies, 90s horror movies. There's sort of like this in your brain, especially I don't want to say I'm old, but us generations who grew up with this stuff.
Right.
It's a callback. It's like a simple way for us to teleport our minds back to a time when things were just a little in our brains, a little simpler and better. You
Yeah.
know.
I think
So you're
people
right.
escape. I think people watch horror today to escape the real world. You know,
Exactly.
it used to be like you go to watch horror to be scared. Be scared, and now I think you go to watch horror because real life is scary. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
Steven says, "Can you tell Brandon I can't wait for the Grind movie?"
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Hop is sitting there going, "Physical media matters." I agree.
That's right.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, the Grind movie is going to be great. I'm still working on trying to see what kind of appearance I'm going to have in that because it'd be really fun to be in Mark Cantu's trilogy of kind of horror comedies, right? So
Right.
he's like I was saying earlier, he's raising funds for that. I think another question you asked earlier was what else do I have going on this year?
Yeah.
I'm still working on my own movie called New Year's Evil, which is right now a short film, but I do want to develop it into a feature film, which is about this action star on New Year's Eve who is contacted by a crazed fan, and he basically wants to put this action star to the test, saying, "Oh, you think you're big and bad because you're a Hollywood celebrity? Well, let's see what you can do." So he plants bombs all around the city, and this actor and his co-star actress, who's Heather Fraley, is in the movie with me. She's also assistant director and all this other stuff. She's been a
Heather
big
would make
help.
a great Heather would make a great superhero or supervillain.
Oh, she would. Yeah, she would be great. I think she's played villains before. Um, so there's definitely
She's
keep an eye
definitely
out on
good.
her IMDb because there's lots more to come. But
That's
yeah, we just got to finish that movie, and then I think we're also later on we're going to be filming a feature film called Blood Money, which is about sort of like drug cartels and stuff. And I play the lead guy's bodyguard and his best friend and stuff, and it's going to be fun,
okay.
I think.
Yeah, always a good crime caper is always fun.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know how much horror this is going to be, but I think it's going to be sort of a mix of action and crime, that kind of thing, which
We're
is
definitely gonna, and
fun.
of course, while this is going on, we're gonna go ahead and you'll be working on developing Lucky Steve, the Immortal, to
Exactly. Yeah.
see if he can make a comeback. Um, if you could make that movie, who do you want to who would you like to star as your first two leads? Who would you cast?
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
not necessarily Arnold, but I'm talking about among your peers now. Who would
Yeah,
you like to go
yeah.
for?
I think I would. Well, obviously, it would be awesome to get Heather in there somewhere. But Spencer Martinez, or Spooky as she goes by sometimes. She was in the first Wolf Hollow as Twyla, and it was actually written a lot more dynamic between our characters. It was on screen and we filmed it, but in the editing, some of that got cut out. But I would love to work with her again. She was in Phantom Fun World and some other really great horror movies. So I don't know if you know who that is, but it'd be really fun to get her to come back to
Okay.
play that character again. I don't know if you remember, but she turns into a werewolf, a
Yeah.
creature. So it'd be kind of fun if Lucky Steve tries to have to save her from some sort of
I think
who
Lucky
knows
Steve's
what.
got it. That's why I call him Lucky Steve for.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were
Um,
kind of joking. It'd be fun to have Heather play like something called like Legless Lucy, some kind of love interest or something, and she loses her legs at some point or something. Who knows what it is, but we're just toying with ideas right now.
Wolf Hollow is currently on Tubi right now. You can go watch it there, or you can go to Gravitas Ventures and buy it through Gravitas Ventures, or you can go to secondary markets and see if it's there. Highly recommended. Wolf Hollow was a very entertaining werewolf movie. I really did enjoy it. It seems like the last 4 or 5 werewolf movies I have seen, I have really enjoyed. It's good to see it coming back. Did you see Werewolves Within?
I have not seen that yet. You saying I gotta put that in my list?
You got to put that in your list.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I love
I
a good
love
werewolf movie, so
That movie is so much fun. Way wicked fun.
I'm gonna write this down. Actually, Werewolf Inn. Sorry, guys, but this is important stuff.
Oh yeah, this is and of course Hunter's Moon, which is on Tubi right now as well. That's the movie that has Amanda Weiss in it, as a matter of fact, from
Oh,
Nightmare on
really?
Elm Street. Yeah, she's
Oh,
yes.
wow. That's
So
great. Okay, and
yeah.
then that one. I'm sorry. Say that one again.
See, Werewolves Within.
Uh
That's
huh.
on IFC. That's on IFC Films, and then Werewolf Hunter's Moon is on
Hunter's
Lionsgate.
Moon.
Yeah,
There we go.
Hunter's Moon. Written and directed by Michael Cassie, and it comes out on Lionsgate, so it's pretty easy to get a physical copy of that.
Here it is. All right, I found the IMDb, so I'm just gonna take a screenshot and look that up later. Uh,
Yeah, don't let those scores, don't that's the thing. When I watched it, I was a little bit. I knew it was really weird. It's like when you watch horror movies and you watch independent films,
yeah,
you can pick up right away that there's certain things that necessarily don't seem right, or they seem a little bit odd. You know
yeah,
damn well that it's very much budget oriented. It's either budget
yeah. You gotta
oriented, and
be a
you gotta.
little forgiving.
Yeah, I learned that lesson.
Yeah, I mean, I think once you are, you're able to go on that ride a little better because you're not expecting multi-million-dollar quality. You're expecting $50,000 quality or 100, and then sometimes it seems like Mark Cantu is able to stretch that budget. Man, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah,
Check out Masker Academy or Wolf Hollow. I think those are both home runs, and I'm honored to be a part of both of them.
I definitely can say for sure that Wolf Hollow is a home run. That opening scene is one that will be talked about for a while,
Oh
at least
yeah,
for me. When people say you have a good werewolf movie to recommend, I can definitely recommend Wolf Hollow because I love the first 10 minutes of that movie. That movie's off the chain.
oh I
It's,
love it. Oh
yeah.
yeah, it's absolutely
Uh,
fantastic.
all right, our time has run its course. I want to thank you, Brandon, for coming out and hanging out with us very much. I hope you had a great time.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I want to thank the chat for coming in and hanging out with us.
Yeah, you guys
Um,
are awesome.
yeah, I appreciate it so much. And we will be back tomorrow night. That's right. We'll be back tomorrow night with our scheduled guest, Morrigan Milan. Some of you might remember her as Morrigan Thompson. And she's if you do a horror film, that's what I'm going to tell you the cast. I'm going to tell you the cast.
So I'm going to
Morgan,
stay tuned for tomorrow because it's
yeah, come by tomorrow. Come meet Morgan. She is such a cool chick. She
oh,
really
that's
is.
amazing.
Good actress and such a fun person. And tomorrow's her birthday, so she decided to hang out with us on her birthday.
Wow.
Friday, I will be joined by our friend Hobbs Horror, who's sitting in the chat right there. I'll be joined on Friday by Hobbs Horror, and he and I will be interviewing actor Corin Nemec. Will be here on 8 o'clock on Friday. That's gonna be a lot of fun too,
Oh my
especially
gosh,
since you're
you got a good lineup then.
yeah,
That's great.
especially 80s kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ruling the world, man. You know.
I'm still there. I mean, because he was in so many great movies, including
Yeah.
Stand, the first Stand. Yeah,
Wow.
he played Harold. He played
Real
Harold in the first.
King classic stuff. That's amazing.
And he also has done a lot of fun creature features, which we'll be talking about as well. He also appeared as Jonas Quinn on Stargate SG-1. So
Oh my gosh.
Warren's going to be here.
Legacy stuff there. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Legend. That's cool.
I'm totally tickled. I'm totally tickled. I'm glad to have him come on and talk to us about it. And then Saturday at 2 p.m. I will be heading on over to Did You See That? Our good friend Mike is hosting a watch party for Spaghetti Man, and now that's where I'll be on Saturday. All right, that's it for us. Brandon, stay right where you're at for a minute into the chat. I'm going to say thank you again for coming out. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Peace out.